So, drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad.
So, you have any advice for kids regarding substances? Let's say substances, which she's trying to ban from YouTube. It's sad when you have to give advice, but yet you have to like tiptoe around certain words.
What about substance abuse?
Yes.
So, advice for kids with substances. Issues.
Regarding substance issues, yeah.
Okay. So, my advice for kids or young people who are considering using substances, do not use substances.
Okay.
And I'm going to explain to you why. And this is my opinion. And again, as I said earlier, if you write a comment or anything to disagree with it, you can disagree with it. I'm not writing you back. That's just what I do.
I had a like on it.
But yeah, so like so my advice is don't even try it. Don't even get tempted to try substances. Don't even go for it. Let me explain something to y'all that somebody explained it to me. When you're doing substance abuse, you're not taking in the substance. You're taking in the spirit. And somebody broke that down to me. I forget who it was. I don't know if it was my dad or if it was from somebody that he learned from, because my dad used to go to not Bible Institute. It was a college in Philly. It was a Bible college.
Yeah.
Because he was studying to have a doctorate and be a pastor. And they had a class on substance abuse. And I believe it was from my dad. He was explaining to me that drugs and substances is not a substance, it's a spirit. So my father explained to me that drugs is not a substance, it's a spirit. The Bible says, be ye sober. And that says that you probably find a Bible verse for that. I didn't do like my research on it. I'm not really savvy where it is. It's like stuff in the Bible like some people. But I was taught this. I did find the Bible verse. I just can't remember it offhand. But it says, be sober. Now, the problem with being sober is you can't be sober if you're taking substance. Whether it be alcohol, whether it be something like a narcotic, or rather be something for like uppers and downers like prescriptions.
Yeah.
The Bible says be sober. You can't do that when you're abusing substance. The reason why I believe God said that is because when you are not sober, you don't have that cognitive mind of control, to the point that when you zoning out on your high, that's when the devil kicks in. And when you're injecting yourself with these substances, even though it looks like a substance, but in reality, you're inviting the spirits, the evil spirits in there. And somebody explained that to my dad in the class, because the guy who was there was a former addict, and he became a born again Christian. He became clean. You know what I mean? And he broke it down to you. It's like when you're injecting yourself, you're injecting the spirit in you. So now, because that spirit will take you with this, which is that narcotic, is going to take you on a high, to the point that like you never felt that way before. And that's what a lot of addicts say when they take that first hit. It's like, whoa. They never felt this. They never felt so alive before. You know what I mean? The feelings that they had, they never thought it was like, it was unimaginable how how they felt could exist. But the problem with like a lot of people who do substance, they say after that first high, you can never get that high back. So a lot of times you started injecting yourself with the same hit. Next thing you know, you kind of feel high, but you're not that high no more. And then it gets to the point where that narcotic that you started with is not hitting no more. So now you want to double it up, or you want to triple it up, or you want to try something harder. See, that's how the devil gets you. You know, he presents something to you to make you feel like you've never been before, especially when you're alone, depressed, and then you take something that makes you feel energetic and happy, and then he'll sneak that into you. And then all of a sudden he takes it away, and that's where you go down on your high.
Yeah.
And you want to go back to it. And he'll never give you that high back again unless you get hit with another harder substance. That's all demonic.
Yeah.
It's all demonic. See, the way God operates, he'll give you a gift in your life, but he wants you to prosper from it.
Yeah.
That's common sense. He wants to give you something to prosper from it. However, the enemy wants to give you something so he can hook you into it. Because what it does is them spirits that keeps giving you those highs that make you want to get that hit to feel alive again. Even though you're feeling so good when you're on your high, he's destroying your body.
Yeah.
And not only destroying your body, he's destroying your mentals. I had two friends that I know that are no longer here on this earth because they chased the ghost. And that's an old term. If you ever hear that, young people, when they say they're chasing the ghost, that's when they're chasing a high to the point that pretty much the ghost gets them. And they're no longer here, which means they OD'd and they died. I have two friends that passed away from that. And I'm sure there's other people, there's not one person in here that don't know somebody that passed away from it. And that's how the enemy operates. He wants to use you up to the point that when you look back, you're destroyed. Everything about you using substances destroy you. And it's funny too, because they say weed just doesn't hurt, nobody and stuff like that. And I'm not a scholar on weed, but as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't hurt people, like it does with the harder narcotics. However, I do believe it is a gateway drug. And people can disagree with me or not, but let me explain to you why. Especially people who are in pain. I understand why people take it for pain and stuff like that. Because it does, like weed does, scientifically, it does things to take away the pain and stuff like that. But not everybody will be content with just using weed. Some people want to chase that high. And that could be an avenue to lead into something darker. You've seen a whole bunch of people on this world, famous people. I'm not going to name names because I don't know them personally. And I don't want to get slandered or any lawsuits because of it. But there's plenty of famous people who passed away from substance. And I guarantee you, every one of them that passed away from substance, if they were alive here today for just 1 hour, they'll tell you not to take it. But here's the thing, I'm alive and I'm telling you, don't take it. Do not take it. Because it's not a substance that you're taking in, it's a demonic spirit. And when you let the enemy when you leave a creak of the door for the enemy to step through, he's gonna bust that door wide open. The enemy's gonna bring his spirit in, and then 7 of his spirits in, and then they're gonna take you through a ride that you might not even recover from. And it's crazy too, because I've watched documentaries on substance abuses, and they say all the time that they want to quit, but because they're scared to detox, because you have to fight the enemy from getting control of your body to the point that some people feel like they're dying in detox, that they rather not go through that, they'd rather just stay on it. And I saw a documentary not too long ago about Philadelphia and Kensington, And the guy said, when you take heroin, there's only two things going to happen to you. Either go to jail or die. He said one of the two things is going to happen to you. He didn't even say, like, you're going to get cured from it. He said there's only two things that's going to happen to you. And it's sad, too, because you see the epidemic rising through the years. And now you got the opioid crisis that's going on because of the doctors and what they did to spread that around the world. The ones who illegally overprescribe pills and cause a lot of people to be hooked. Pause. And you see, like, all the lawsuits that were brought about by legislator against these pharmaceutical companies because of all the people that are hooked on it. Mm-hmm. We're losing generations of people. Their lives are getting cut short because people are so hooked on that stuff. So then my question for young people is, you're seeing death in front of your face. You see it on the news all the time. You see people dying all the time for substance abuse, and alcohol is included in that. Why go that route? Is it okay to drink once in a while? No, it's not if you're underage. State says you gotta be 21. So if you're taking alcohol before you're 21, number one, you're doing it wrong, and number two, you're doing it illegally. So you're already going down the wrong avenue, where you're gonna run into the law a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And I dealt with people on the road. You can tell they drunk driving the stuff on the road. There's a lot of things going on under alcohol as well. So it's like, but it's okay, by law, to, have a drink or two. But when we drinking down bottles of it, it's just as bad as being on narcotics. Cigarettes is just as bad too. But yeah, I remember when I was in school, they said more people died of cigarettes than cocaine. Because of the nicotine that makes it addictive to make people want to keep doing it. Keep going. And that's why they had lawsuits, and that's why they have a lot of
that's why now they have it on the box.
On the box, he had the warning on the boxes about getting cancer and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So, like, why do that to your life? God made your body to be a temple of the Holy Spirit. But when you allow substances in your body, you're dirtying your house. Mm-hmm. You're dirtying your house. And when you dirty your house, your health is going to pay the price. Mm-hmm. And that's the bottom line. Don't take any substance. Do not. Because reality is out there. Don't think that it's not going to happen to you. It can and it will happen to you when the tables turn and your health gets worse because you took that substance.
That's true.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen cases. You had cases of substance abuses. I'm not going to let you talk about it because that's your job. But I know you had a lot of cases like that. We had to deal with children under the substance abuse. And I bet you it's sad to see, too.
It's definitely it's sad to see. Because they're losing years of their life that you can never get back. Like, it's different when you're an adult and you're going through that. Yeah, you're losing years out on your life, but you're losing adult years of your life, not your child, which you can kind of get back a little bit. But as a kid, if you're doing that as a child, those children in like teenage years, you don't get back.
No.
Like, they're gone. Like, once you hit 18, those years are gone. Those playful years, they're gone.
I see drug addicts that look like they're 80 years old and come to find out they're 30.
That happened when me and my mom was walking and she saw this lady. She looked like she could easily have been like 60 plus years old. My mom was like, you know that lady? I was like, no. She was like, I do. I was like, you do? She was like, I used to babysit her.
Yeah.
And I was like, how old is she? She is like, she can't be no more than 20, 21 maybe.
And it's sad. It's sad, and that's that's what the enemy does. He'll use those substances to draw you up inside, rotten you up inside, and then you come out looking rotten. Because like you could tell a lot of them from when I could tell one from a mile away when I'm in Philly or like in Camden or anything. Like you tell by their flesh, you can see it's like their flesh is rotten. And you can see how they walk and stuff. And even when they're on their high, they look like they're demonically possessed. Because there's sometimes when I drive my tractor trailers in the morning, they'll be out there in the middle of the street, and I have to be cautious of them because that whatever that spirit's telling them to go, they might just walk right in front of the truck like before I drove by it. Yeah. So it's and if some people don't have that not saying that the fear of God goes on to not see the reality. Some people just blessed not to see what I see out there and what you see out there. But that stuff is kind of, if you don't recognize what the enemy does to people, especially people on the street that are addicts, it can be a very scary thing to register when you first see it. Yeah. Unfortunately, I've been working in these city streets and towns for almost 20 years now, so it's like I'm used to it now. Yeah. But it's definitely, first view is a lot to soak in, you know. It's a scary, like, it reality. Like, it is. It's one of those things where it's like, unless you're there and you see it, like, it's not to say, like, it's funny because people, like, watch, like, shows, like, say, Euphoria or things like that, and it's like, yeah, but the reality of it is not pretty. It's definitely one of those where, shoot, back in the 90s, I'm not sure if you remember, there used to be a thing called heroin chic. And it'd be like really, really, really thin girls, like almost they look bony, and they would wear stuff that was like mangled up and whatnot to kind of resemble almost like a homeless person. I'll put up pictures of what heroin chic used to look like back in the 90s. It was quite interesting. I never heard of that, but yeah, it was called heroin chic, and people would it was because like thin was in, and it was like one of those things where you didn't realize like how almost death-like they looked. And it's like, yeah, when you see people like who are on like heroin is one of the biggest ones you can kind of like see in their faces there. And you know, cocaine too, like, or you know, crack, you could definitely see it in like people's faces. It's like, yeah, it rots them from the inside first, and then it leads to the outside. But probably you should, if you can, put up the number for any hotlines for you know, anybody that is on addictions that they trying to be free of. Maybe you could put up the hotline while we talk about this subject. And, you know, hopefully people can get the help they need. But the one thing is that even regardless if you think you can't get off these addictions, because there's other addictions, not even substances, and you know that. But the Lord can cure you of everything. If only you submit your will to Him. Because honest to truth, when you're on them substances, there's no other way but God to get you out of that. And that's another thing I should say for young people who are on that stuff. Regardless of if you think you have the manpower to quit that stuff, you really don't. You have to have God rescue you out of that situation and change you completely. A lot of the programs you need like a higher power. Yeah, a lot of these programs talk about a higher power. And like I said, there's no higher power than Jesus Christ. And like I said, people can disagree with me on that, and they can. And again, that's my opinion, and that's the one I'm gonna stick to. So, disagree in the comments down below. We accept comments, give us likes, dislikes. I accept criticism too. Well, I'm not scared of criticism, but it help has us to with be the said. Algorithm. We love it helps. It needs to be said. But the main thing is I'm telling you, regardless if you agree with my faith or not, I don't want none of these kids on that stuff. And I'm sure as a common adult that has common sense, I don't think nobody wants their children on that stuff too. And that's just the bottom line, regardless of what they follow. Exactly. So.